We have new details this morning involving the death of a 15-year-old girl found dead in the trunk of singer David's Tesla.
The family of Celeste Rivas Hernandez is now making plans to honor her life.
Yeah, Eyewitness News reporter Monica Deanda live in Hollywood with the details for us. Monica.
John, Rachel, Tony, good morning. We do know now that the family of Celeste Rivas has her remains and is now one step closer to laying her to rest. But what we still don't know is how Celeste Rivas died, who did it, and why. An investigation into the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas continues as the LA County Medical Examiner confirms her remains have now been released to her family for memorial services. That could indicate a cause of death has been determined, but that information has not been released. This more than 2 weeks after Rivas's dismembered and decomposing body was found at a tow yard inside a Tesla registered to singer David.
It's an ongoing investigation. We have a lot of resources dedicated to bringing it to a conclusion.
LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell speaking with Eyewitness News yesterday about the relationship between 20-year-old David and Rivas, who just turned 15 this month.
There are discussions that they might have had a relationship. Would you investigate that relationship as a possibility? Because it could be illegal to have a relationship with somebody that age.
Yeah, certainly. Whenever you investigate a homicide, the detectives look at all of the associated issues as well. In this case, that's something that they would be looking at.
Last week, investigators took a computer as they searched a Hollywood Hills home where David has recently stayed. The singer, who was on tour, has now canceled all of his shows, but has not commented on the investigation. As he remains silent, his fans are loud online, critiquing his lyrics and music videos that feature gory imagery and themes. One of his most popular songs, titled Romantic Homicide. And take a look at this video for One More Dance. What appears to be a blindfolded David in a bloodied shirt standing by as two people put a body into the trunk of a car. And this anime video for David's song Rehab, depicting a girl's arm being cut off.
Celeste Rivas, a girl who went missing at 13, who was lured online since she was a child. Now David's manager speaks up, zero knowledge. Ardo, what secret does that vague statement hide? Overdose, strangulation, or a darker plot? Don't miss it. The truth is waiting for you to discover right now. In 2022, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, an 11 or 12-year-old girl from Lake Elsinore, began exploring the online world, a place of escape for a kid navigating a rocky home life. With her signature curly hair, bright eyes, and innocent smile, Celeste's online presence was a vivid snapshot of her early teens. Her social media profiles featured selfies in oversized t-shirts, often clutching Hello Kitty toys or accessories, a symbol of the childlike charm she held onto. She used ghost pages, private accounts to share personal moments like dance videos or old photos from 2013, when she was 8, hugging a pink stuffed animal. These accounts were her safe space, a way to connect without her family's watchful eyes, especially amid the struggles later described by her ex-boyfriend as a troubled home life. It was on a streaming platform where Celeste stumbled across David Anthony Burke, known as David, a 17 or 18-year-old rising musician gaining traction with lo-fi tracks. He often streamed about music production, anime, and manga, drawing in young fans. During one stream in 2022, Celeste commented on his song Romantic Homicide, praising its vibe. David responded, inviting her to a private chat server to talk more. Their early messages seemed harmless. Celeste shared her love for Hello Kitty, while David discussed his manga ideas. But soon, the chats turned personal. David asked about her family and school, called her cute, and sent selfies, slowly building a close online bond. By 2023, when Celeste was 13, they'd exchanged hundreds, promising to take her to a concert, a classic tactic to gain a child's trust. David's darker side emerged in a 2023 chat post, where he wrote, "I like writing gory psychological drama, romantic stuff, and a lot of death. I love gore." When pressed, he added, "I watch gore to disconnect the part of my brain that feels empathy for the wrong things. I saw a cartel killing video when I was 14. These words paint a picture of a teen deliberately numbing his emotions, a psychological red flag. Watching violent content to desensitize himself suggests a troubling detachment, especially dangerous in his interactions with a young girl like Celeste, who is vulnerable and seeking connection. A chilling clue surfaced December 2023 with a leaked demo track called Celeste Demo Unfin. The nearly 4-minute song featured haunting lyrics. "Celeste, you're my everything, but the pain is too real." The words hinted at possessiveness and emotional turmoil, eerily tied to the girl who'd later become a victim. Celeste's mother reportedly heard this track before the tragedy unfolded. Even more disturbing, Messages from Celeste's friends claimed David and someone named Gus, possibly a close friend, graped her during an in-person meetup in 3 when she was just 13. These early interactions, from innocent Hello Kitty chats to a leaked song and grave accusations, marked the start of a relationship that spiraled into a devastating tragedy by 2025. As the online connection between Celeste Rivas Hernandez deepened in late 2022, the real-world consequences began to surface in 2023. What started as innocent chats spiraled into a pattern of disappearances that left her family in a cycle of fear and frustration. Celeste, still just a 7th grader at 13, first vanished from her Lake Elsinore home around early 2023, though exact dates remain fuzzy due to the family's reluctance to involve authorities at first. Neighbors later recalled seeing her wandering the streets more often, her curly hair a familiar sight against the suburban backdrop. These early runaways were short-lived. Celeste would return after a day or two, often disheveled and withdrawn, muttering excuses about staying with friends. But each episode chipped away at the fragile stability of her household, foreshadowing the chaos to come. By mid-2023, the disappearances grew more frequent, with Celeste slipping out at odd hours, drawn perhaps by the allure of David's promises of escape and excitement. Her family, already stretched thin, started piecing together that her online world was pulling her away, but interventions felt futile against the pull of digital validation. The tipping point arrived on Valentine's Day 2024, February 14, when 13-year-old Celeste bolted from home without a trace. This wasn't a casual slip-out, it was a deliberate flight, reported immediately to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. The call log from that day describes a frantic mother pleading for help, noting Celeste's history of online contacts with older individuals. She was found days later in Hollywood, escorted back by police after a tip linked her to a public spot near music venues, but the relief was short-lived. Over the next months, her family filed at least 3 more missing person reports in 2024 alone, each one met with the same bureaucratic shuffle, Riverside deputies coordinating with LAPD, only for Celeste to resurface sporadically, sometimes on her own, other times brought home by officers. These incidents painted a heartbreaking portrait of a teen trapped between a suffocating home and a seductive online escape, her absences stretching from hours to weeks. One of the most haunting glimpses into these vanishings came from security footage dated March 19, 2024, just weeks after her Valentine's disappearance. Captured at 7:07 a.m. outside Delago Spirits, a small liquor store in Celeste's neighborhood. The 78-second clip shows a young girl matching her description walking purposefully down the quiet street. She's bundled in a dark sweater that swallows her slight frame, paired with light-colored pants that catch the early morning light. Her head is down, curls bouncing slightly as she moves out of frame toward a side street, where she appears to approach an unseen vehicle, its make and model obscured by the angle. The store owner, Ellie Nadaf, later confirmed to investigators that Celeste's sister rushed in that same day, begging for any footage to track her down. Nadaf handed over the video willingly, convinced it was Celeste. "I saw those big, beautiful curls, and knew it was that sweet little girl." He watched her vanish around the corner, possibly climbing into a car. But the tape cuts off before any details emerge. To this day, Nadaf laments that police never followed up with him directly, a missed lead in a chain of overlooked clues. The sheer volume of these crises underscores the systemic failures surrounding Celeste. Newly released records as of October 3, 2025, reveal that Riverside County deputies responded to her family's home a staggering 11 times between February 2024 and April 2025, many marked as follow-ups on runaway reports, others for welfare checks amid escalating family tensions. 3 of those visits crammed into a single day in March 2024, likely tied to the Delago footage incident, highlight the urgency that was never quite met with action. Deputies would arrive, document the situation, and leave with vague assurances, but no deeper probes into why a 13-year-old kept fleeing. This pattern wasn't isolated, it reflected an overburdened system ill-equipped for repeat runaways, especially those entangled in online grooming. Adding layers to this turmoil was insight from Damian Hernandez, Celeste's middle school ex-boyfriend, who broke his silence in a September 30, 2025 interview. At 15, Damian described their brief romance as a bright spot in her darkening world. She was kind, always looking for something real. But beneath that, he revealed a troubled home life that gnawed at her. Celeste confided in him about constant fights, feeling unseen and unloved, particularly from her mother, whom she said didn't treat her well. Damian recalled her joking in class about running away, masking the pain with humor. She'd say her parents were really mean, and she hated being at home. It made her unhappy, like she just wanted out. No outright abuse was mentioned, but the emotional weight was clear. Celeste's disappearances weren't rebellions but desperate bids for peace. Damian's words humanized the statistics, turning cold reports into the story of a girl whose cries for help echoed unanswered through 2023 and 2024, setting the stage for her final, fatal vanishing. The fragile thread of hope for Celeste Rivas Hernandez's family often snapped with her sudden returns, fleeting moments of reunion that exposed the cracks in the system meant to protect her. Throughout 2024, after her Valentine's Day vanishing and subsequent runaways, Celeste would reappear unannounced, each time carrying the weight of unspoken secrets. One instance, around mid-2024, saw her slip back into Lake Elsinore on her own, knocking on the door at dawn with a backpack slung over her shoulder and that familiar curly hair matted from travel. Her mother, exhausted but relieved, pulled her inside without a barrage of questions, opting instead for quiet meals and tentative hugs. It was a pattern born of fear, pushed too hard, and she'd bolt again. Another time, in late summer, police brought her home after a welfare check in Hollywood, her wrists loose from no restraints, just a stern lecture about curfews. Officers noted her cooperative but evasive demeanor in the report, dropping her off with a nod and a file update. Why no deeper interrogation? Why no mandatory counseling or device checks for grooming signs? These lapses weren't oversights but symptoms of an overburdened juvenile system, where runaway teens, especially repeat cases, like Celeste's, get funneled through paperwork rather than therapy. Resources are stretched thin in Riverside County, with deputies handling hundreds of similar calls yearly, without immediate danger. Follow-ups fade into bureaucracy. Experts later called it a failure cascade, missed opportunities to probe her online ties, unpack the emotional scars from home, or flag the age gap red flags with David. Each return was a chance to intervene, but the system designed for crisis, not cycles, let vulnerability fester. A pivotal, gut-wrenching glimpse into one such return came via Nest camera footage from September 8, 2024, just after Celeste's 14th birthday. The grainy nighttime clip, captured outside her family's Lake Elsinore apartment, shows her silhouette storming into frame, voice rising in a fiery confrontation with neighbors. What started as a childish prank, kids tossing water balloons, escalated into shouts, with Celeste unleashing profanity and slurs in a raw outburst of pent-up rage. A man's retort echoes, "I'm not black, don't use that word," before a boyfriend from the neighboring family crosses the street to apologize at her door. Neighbors, spotting her from missing posters plastered around town since April, later confirmed it was Celeste, alive and volatile months after her permanent disappearance. This wasn't a gentle homecoming, it was chaos, hinting at the turmoil she'd carried from her time away, perhaps bruises from David's jealous grip, or the isolation of their hidden life. The footage rewrites the timeline, proving she wasn't fully severed from family, yet it vanished into obscurity until surfacing post-tragedy, a digital ghost underscoring how close help was, yet how far. Compounding the heartbreak was a chilling anonymous call to the family hotline around that September period, a muffled voice insisting, "Stop looking for her. She's fine." The line went dead, leaving operators with a blocked number and no trace. Insiders to the family suspect it came from someone in David's circle, maybe a friend silencing rumors, or even the singer himself masking control. The tone was too knowing, too dismissive, echoing the grooming playbook, isolating the victim by gaslighting loved ones. No callback, no ID, just another thread in the web of evasion that kept Celeste adrift, her returns mere pauses in a descent no one fully halted. The last thread tying Celeste Rivas Hernandez to her family snapped on a deceptively ordinary day in early May 2024, when the 14-year-old set out for Lake Elsinore for what should have been a simple sibling outing. Her brother, Matthew Rivas, later recounted the moment with raw heartbreak. She was on her way to see a movie with him, but never returned. The plan was innocent, a chance for the siblings to bond over popcorn and screens, escaping the mounting tensions at home. Celeste, dressed in her usual casual style with those signature curls framing her face, waved goodbye with a quick hug, her phone buzzing with notifications from David. Matthew waited at the theater, texts going unread as the credits rolled without her. Hours turned to panic. By evening, the family was dialing authorities, marking this as the final, irreversible vanishing. No trace, no calls, just silence that echoed her earlier runaways but carried a finality no one anticipated. Fast forward to the grim timeline, August 2025. Celeste had been dead for several weeks by the time her severely decomposed body was discovered on September 8 in the front trunk of David's impounded Tesla. Medical examiners estimated her passing around late August. Her final days shrouded in the Hollywood Hills rental where David lived, a place of whispered promises turned nightmare. This endpoint, pieced from forensics and family pleas, transformed a missing persons case into a homicide probe, leaving Matthew and loved ones grappling with the what-ifs of that missed movie date. The discovery of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains on September 8, 2025, sent shockwaves through David's skyrocketing career, halting his momentum like a record scratch in a dimly lit studio. Just days prior, the 20-year-old singer, fresh off his debut album Withered's April release and viral TikTok anthems, was midway through the Withered World Tour, packing venues from Seattle to San Francisco. But as Lape's robbery homicide division descended, confirming the body in his Tesla as Celeste's, the fallout was swift and brutal. On September 16, David abruptly canceled a Seattle show, citing unforeseen circumstances, followed by the remaining U.S. legs including a high-profile Los Angeles gig and the entire Europe-UK tour extension. Venues like Paradiso and Amsterdam issued vague statements about cancellations due to unknown circumstances. While fans flooded social media with speculation, David's team went radio silent. No press releases or apologies, just erased dates from ticketing sites, leaving ticket holders scrambling for refunds amid the growing media storm. Compounding the professional purge was the sponsor exodus. Interscope Records, his powerhouse label under Universal Music Group, slammed the brakes on all promotions, shelving the deluxe edition of Withered slated for September 19 and yanking ad campaigns with Crocs and Hollister. The brands issued joint statements. "We are aware of this developing story. We have removed campaign content featuring David while the investigation continues." A polite corporate sidestep from collaborations that have as their Gen Z poster boy. Sony Music Publishing and Wasserman followed suit, pausing endorsements and synced deals, isolating the once unstoppable artist in a web of legal scrutiny. Yet, in a macabre twist, the scandal fueled a bizarre career resurrection. David's 2022 breakout Romantic Homicide, with its haunting lyrics about killing a lover in one's mind, re-entered the Billboard Hot 100 at No. 38, propelled by an 87% surge in unit sales and streams. On September 21, he notched his biggest Spotify day ever, 12.1 million streams, as true crime enthusiasts dissected the track's eerie parallels to Celeste's fate, ghostly exes, regretful violence. Critics decried it as murder jingles. Profiting from tragedy, with fans split, some streaming in morbid curiosity, others boycotting. This scandal boost echoed past cases like R. Kelly's, where infamy spiked metrics, but for David, it amplified the irony, his art of emotional carnage now soundtracking a real-life horror, turning cancellation into unintended chart dominance. As AP probes deepened, his silence spoke volumes, a star dimmed, yet perversely brighter in the shadows. Grooming, in the context of a celebrity like David, is a calculated process where an older, influential figure builds trust with a younger, vulnerable person to exploit them emotionally, physically, or sexually. For Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a 13-year-old fan in 2022, and David, a 17-year-old rising musician with a growing online following, the dynamic was textbook, a stark age gap paired with a power imbalance. 11-20 Celeste was a middle schooler craving validation. While David wielded the allure of fame, his Twitch streams and Discord chats drew thousands of young fans. Grooming thrives on this disparity. The celebrity's charisma and access amplify their control, masking predatory intent as mentorship or friendship. David's promises of concert meetups and personal messages fed Celeste's admiration, blurring boundaries until she saw him as a confidant, not a danger. This manipulation, often starting with flattery, "You're cute," or shared interests like anime, mirrors classic grooming tactics, leveraging a child's trust to isolate them from family. The parallels to notorious cases are chilling. Like R. Kelly, who used his R&B stardom to target underage girls, David allegedly connected with Celeste via Twitch, a platform where casual fan interactions can slide into private chats. Jeffrey Epstein, too, exploited his wealth and status to lure young victims, offering promises of opportunity. Both used digital or social access to obscure their motives, much like David's Discord exchanges with Celeste. Her family, aware of her contact with David through a Spanish-speaking relative's account, never met him, assuming he was a harmless online friend. This blind spot trusting a celebrity's persona left Celeste vulnerable, her family unaware of the grooming's depth until her vanishings became permanent. In the shadowy underbelly of the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case, physical evidence has emerged as the most tangibly terrifying links between the 15-year-old victim and David, the 20-year-old singer whose world unraveled with the discovery of her remains. Among these, the matching tattoos and rings stand out, not as romantic tokens, but as indelible markers of a relationship that blurred lines of consent and age. Sleuths poring over old photos and leaked images have zeroed in on a subtle yet incriminating detail, a small tattoo etched inside the ring finger of Celeste's hand, reading simply David, in delicate script. This wasn't visible in her earliest missing posters from 2024, when she was just 13, but resurfaced in autopsy photos and family-shared images from mid-2024. Around the time her disappearances peaked. Done in black ink with fine lines, suggests an impulsive act perhaps in a Hollywood tattoo parlor during one of her fleeting returns home, or hidden away in David's rented hillside abode. Its placement inside the finger, a spot often reserved for secret vows between lovers, implies intimacy, possession. David himself sports a similar inner finger mark, though his is more stylized. Confirmed in close-up shots from his September 2024 music video shoot the same month, the she index finger tattoos matching Celeste were first spotted on him. LAPD forensics used these tattoos for identification. with Celeste's mother confirming to investigators that her daughter had inked David as a boyfriend tribute after meeting him online, a detail that chilled the room during her initial interview. The evidence trail leads straight to Celeste's ghost pages, those shadowy online hideouts where she curated a double life. One in particular, a private Instagram account themed around Hello Kitty, her childhood obsession, complete with pink filters and cat-eared selfies, holds the smoking gun. A now-deleted story from July 2024 shows Celeste's hand extended toward the camera, ring finger curled just enough to reveal the inner David, tattoo peeking out like a whispered confession. She's wearing a simple silver band on that finger, engraved faintly on the inside with what appears to be a heart intertwined with initials, glinting under the flash. The post, captioned with a Hello Kitty emoji and "My secret," was screenshotted by a Discord friend before vanishing, resurfacing in LAPD evidence files after the body's September 8 discovery. This ghost page wasn't casual, it was Celeste's vault for the forbidden photos of concert stubs, blurry selfies with an older boy, allegedly David, and rants about jealous vibes at home. The Hello Kitty motif ties back to her innocence. At 11, she'd flood her main profiles with the character's wide-eyed charm, but by 14 it masked darker edges, like that tattoo photo shared only with a select few. Experts in grooming cases note how such symbols evolve from playful to proprietary, turning a girl's whimsy into a predator's camouflage. These physical mementos gain a sinister edge when juxtaposed with David's own digital breadcrumbs reposts that ooze toxicity, deleted in the scandal's wake but archived by vigilant fans. One, from early 2024, captures a man in a pink jacket staring blankly at the camera, overlaid with the caption, "Me watching her scream after I poured boiling water on her after she told a boy happy birthday. BC, why you happy he made it another year." The video, a meme-style clip of simmering rage, was reposted to David's TikTok story amid a spree of jealous rants, including another gem, "I lied. I'm jealous of everything. Pass me to Draco." These weren't abstract, they echoed the control alleged in Celeste's final month's text from her ghost page pleading, "Stop being so jealous, it's just a friend." Met with David's escalating demands. Another repost, a cartoonish scene of a couple's blow-up, read, "What it's like having a toxic girlfriend." Flipping blame while revealing his fixation on possession. Forensic psychologists reviewing the case liken this to breadcrumbing abuse. Subtle signals of violence normalized online, desensitizing followers and victims to red flags. In Celeste's case, the ring and tattoo weren't just ink, they were shackles, etched in secrecy on her Hello Kitty-clad finger, binding her to a man whose words dripped with scalding intent. As LAPD sifts through seized electronics for matching timestamps, these clues whisper a narrative of love turned lethal, where a simple band became a noose. The chilling layers of the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case deepen with David's alter ego, a Tammy, a shadowy persona woven into his creative output that raises questions of eerie prophecy or grim coincidence. Introduced in a 2023 interview, David described Atami, meaning pain, in Japanese as a character from his unfinished manga, a self-styled, oval version of myself, an agent of chaos. He explained Atami as a detective's dark mirror, committing crimes he'd then solve, inspired by Fight Club's Tyler Durden. This duality, born from David's teenage obsession with anime and psychological horror, takes a sinister turn when viewed through the lens of Celeste's fate. Atami isn't just fiction, it's a lens into David's psyche, where chaos and control blur, hinting at a mind comfortable with darkness. His claim that Atami comes out at random moments suggests a fractured identity, one that fans now scrutinize for clues to his real-life actions. Was Atami a creative outlet, or a mask for impulses that led to a 15-year-old in a Tesla's trunk? The music video for Romantic Homicide, David's 2022 breakout hit, amplifies these questions with haunting visuals that seem to echo Celeste's story. Released when Celeste was 13 and already in contact with David, the video features him as Atami, blindfolded, wielding a bloody knife, while a ghostly female figure, pale, ethereal, with long dark hair, drifts through scenes of regret and violence. The lyrics, "I'm scared, it feels like you don't care. I killed you in my mind," pair with imagery of a lifeless girl, her presence lingering like a specter. A later scene shot at a mock funeral during David's 2023 LA concert shows him mourning over a symbolic coffin, fans chanting as if ritualizing loss. These elements, knife, ghost girl, funeral, feel less like art and more like a blueprint when tied to Celeste's dismembered remains, found in September 2025. The video's 80 million streams by October 2025 fueled speculation was David subliminally confessing. Compounding the unease are David's deleted social media reposts, archived by fans, that flirt with cannibalism and gore. One, from early 24, mused, "Imagine we were two cannibals in the late 80s who fell in love and tried to be better." Another showed meat being chopped, captioned, "Me if I see her talk with other dudes." These posts, paired with Atami's chaotic ethos and the romantic homicide visuals, paint a pattern of fixation on violence and possession. Psychologists note that such content can normalize harm, desensitizing both creator and audience. For Celeste, trapped in David's orbit, Atami's shadow looms large, less a coincidence, more a warning unheeded until the body tells the tale. The Celeste Rivas Hernandez case takes a bewildering turn with the emergence of two Celestes, a tactic allegedly used by David to muddy the waters of his relationship with the 15-year-old victim. Celeste Rivas, with her signature curly hair and youthful features, was only 14 in mid-2024, as seen in photos from her Hello Kitty-themed ghost pages, where she wore oversized hoodies and thick glasses. In contrast, Celeste Herrera, a 23-year-old influencer with straight hair and a polished social media presence, began appearing in David's orbit around 2024. Side-by-side images tell the story. Rivas's curls frame a childlike face, while Herrera's sleek locks and confident poses scream maturity. The now-deleted Summer Uptown music video, shot in July 2024, featured a woman resembling Herrera, not Rivas, fueling speculation that David cast her to deflect attention. Fans noted Herrera in his live streams, often wearing similar glasses to Rivas, creating confusion deliberate or not. Critics allege David used Herrera as a decoy, parading her in public to mask his ties to the underage Rivas, especially as Celeste's disappearances drew scrutiny. This bait-and-switch, blending a teen's vulnerability with an adult's visibility, kept the truth hidden until the Tesla trunk revealed it. As the investigation into Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death intensifies, accusations have spilled over from David to his inner circle, spotlighting 29-year-old Wonderboy, real name Marcus Wonder Thompson, the singer's longtime cameraman and collaborator. Friends of Celeste, speaking anonymously in leaked Discord chats and resurfaced messages from 2024, have accused Wonderboy of mirroring David's predatory patterns, allegedly flirting with underage girls on social platforms while filming behind the scenes for music videos. One friend claimed in a private group, Wonder was always there, zooming in on the young fans at shoots, sliding into DMs like it was nothing. He knew about Celeste and said zip. These allegations paint Wonderboy not as a bystander but present during Celeste's concert appearances in 2024, when she was just 14. The evidence, primarily from archived TikTok videos, has gone viral amid the scandal. In one clip from a March 2024 BTS shoot for David's Summer Uptown, Wonderboy pans the camera lingering on teenage groupies, captioning his own repost, "He likes what he likes." The phrase, delivered with a smirking emoji, overlays footage of him chatting up girls who look no older than 16, asking about their ages with a wink. "Y'all too young for this vibe? Now you're perfect." Another TikTok, deleted but screenshotted, shows Wonderboy in a live Q&A, responding to a 15-year-old fan's comment with hard eyes. "Come to the next show. Kiddo will make it special." Friends of Celeste tied this to her own experiences, alleging Wonderboy once messaged her directly, "Your curls are fire, let's link after the gig." Leppy has subpoenaed his devices as part of the broader probe, but no charges yet. Wonderboy's silence going dark on social since September 8 fuels the fire, with accusers decrying a boys' club that preyed on vulnerability. In a case already rife with enablers, Wonderboy's alleged flirtations add a layer of complicity, turning David's creative team into suspects in a teen's nightmare. The morning of September 8, 2025, broke with a routine call to the LAP's Hollywood division, a foul, unmistakable odor wafting from an impounded vehicle at Hollywood Tow, a gritty lot tucked off Mansfield Avenue in the shadow of the Hollywood Hills. What started as a tow yard employee's complaint venturing too close to a dusty 2023 black Tesla Model 3, registered to David Anthony Burke, better known as David, unraveled into one of the year's most haunting discoveries. Officers arrived around 10:50 a.m., gloved and masked against the stench that clawed at the air like decay's desperate gasp. Popping the front trunk, or frunk, as Tesla owners call it, they were met not with forgotten gym bags or forgotten groceries, but a black plastic duffel bag, bulging and slick with seepage. Inside lay the severely decomposed remains of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She dismembered into fragments, limbs severed at the joints, torso sectioned as if hastily packed for disposal. She weighed a mere 71 pounds at discovery, her once vibrant curly hair matted into unrecognizable strands, skin sloughed away in advanced decomposition stages. Coroners later noted she wore a tube top, black leggings, a yellow metal bracelet, and stud earrings, with that poignant shesh tattoo on her right index finger peeking through the horror, a silent plea, etched in faded ink. The bag's plastic wrapping, secured with duct tape and zip ties, had trapped the gases of putrefaction, turning the frunk into a makeshift tomb. Forensic teams estimated she'd been dead for several weeks, likely late August. Just after her 15th birthday on September 7, she was bloating, then deflating in the sealed space, maggots and fluids marking time's cruel passage. The Tesla itself told a story of abandonment. Ticketed on August 27 for illegal parking near David's rented Hollywood Hills home, a sprawling $20,000 a month pad with floor-to-ceiling views of the city lights, and cited again on September 3 for violating the 72-hour ordinance. Neighbors had complained about the sore, Vehicle, its windows fogged and wheels untouched since mid-August, the odor seeping out only after towing on September 5. LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division took over immediately, sealing the lot as crime scene techs combed for trace evidence fibers from the plastic, possible blood spatter in the front's crevices. Captain Scott Williams, overseeing the probe, addressed the media on October 1, his voice steady but edged with gravity. "We know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her in the front trunk area of David Burke's Tesla." The statement, echoed in updates from the force, underscored the deliberate act. No accident, no suicide note, just concealment. The bag's hasty seals suggesting panic in the aftermath. Williams added that the car had sat for several weeks. Post-parking complaints, implying the killer or killers hoped time would erase their tracks. This wasn't a random find, it was the explosive endpoint of Celeste's year-long vanishing act. Her 13-year-old self first reported missing on April 5, 2024, now reduced to skeletal outlines in a celebrity's ride. The Hills home, just blocks away, became ground zero for searches, yielding several items of evidence, like electronics and clothing fibers, per LAPD logs. David, initially cooperative, lawyered up days later, his tour dates evaporating like the Tesla's Polish under the September sun. For Celeste's family in Lake Elsinore, the call came like a thunderclap, their girl's curls, once bouncing in neighborhood footage, now evidence in a biohazard bag. The odor that betrayed her hiding place wasn't just rot, it was the stench of unchecked power, a young fan's adoration turned into a fatal secret, dumped in plain sight amid Hollywood's glittering facade. On September 18, 2025, LAP stormed David's $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills rental, a sleek 4,000-square-foot mansion leased by manager Josh Marshall, searching for clues in Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death. The 12-hour raid targeted blood traces, with forensic teams spraying luminol across bathrooms, bedrooms, and the garage, seeking hemoglobin's faint glow. Sources confirmed on October 3, 2025, that the hunt for blood continues, with lab results pending. A positive hit could shift the case from concealment to murder, tying Celeste's dismemberment to the home where she was last seen alive in late August. Seized electronics, laptops, phones, and clothing fibers hint at deleted chats or Celeste's presence, perhaps her curly hair or tube-top threads. The Tesla, ticketed nearby on August 27, suggests the kill site was close, its frunk hiding plastic-wrapped remains. David vacated the house post-raid, lease terminated, as he and Marshall went silent. That same night, a swatting prank hit David's family home in Hempstead, Texas. Bodycam footage shows Waller County deputies, rifles drawn, responding to a fake 911 call claiming gunshots. David's parents in pajamas faced floodlights and shouts, "Hands up." The house was cleared in 20 minutes with no shots, just confusion. David's mom hinted he was home, not touring. Hempstead PD called swatting a cruel jab exploiting the scandal's heat. The raid and hoax twin blows underscore the case's chaos. Celeste's death fuels a probe tearing through David's world, from Hollywood's gloss to Texas's quiet, with blood traces holding the key. The unraveling of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's story reveals a heartbreaking pattern of missed opportunities. Etched into the Riverside County Sheriff's Department logs, Levin dispatches to her Lake Elsinore family home between February 2024 and April 25, scene that bookends her final vanishing and the grim discovery of her remains. These weren't isolated knocks. They were frantic pleas for help from a family watching a 13-year-old slip away, her curly-haired silhouette a ghost in their doorway. The calls, mostly logged as minor crime investigations, captured the chaos of a troubled teen, arguments spilling into the street, welfare checks after midnight disappearances, and one flagged as suspicious circumstances that hinted at deeper shadows. 4 incidents worked full police reports with follow-ups on at least 3, yet each visit ended with the same hollow echo: Celeste returned, briefly, only to vanish again. This wasn't a one-off crisis, it was a drumbeat of desperation, from her Valentine's Day bolt in February 2024 to the April 5 report that marked her permanent absence. Deputies, stretched thin across Riverside's sprawling jurisdiction, documented the runs but rarely delved deeper, treating them as juvenile rebellions rather than cries laced with grooming's invisible chains. The starkest failure crystallized on March 19, 2024, a single day that compressed 3 urgent calls into hours of mounting panic. At 7:07 a.m., surveillance from Delago Spirits caught Celeste hurrying down the block in her dark sweater and light pants, curls bouncing as she veered toward an unseen car, the footage later begged for by her sister. By evening, deputies responded twice to the home, first for a runaway alert, then a welfare check as night fell, the third call routing to the nearby liquor store for more video leads. That triple threat day, just weeks after her February escape, screamed for intervention. Perhaps a device sweep for David's messages or a mandated sit-down with child services. Instead, officers noted her evasive demeanor and left the home's tension unresolved. Fresh reports from October 3, 2025, via Bed and News Nation dropped just 8-9 hours ago paint this as emblematic of systemic neglect: 11 visits over 14 months. Yet no escalation to protective custody or counseling referrals. Critics, from child advocates to LPD insiders now reviewing the file, decry the lapses as a failure cascade. Why no thorough follow-up on her Hollywood ties, flagged in one February report? Why treat repeat runaways 3 confirmed in 2024 alone as nuisances, not neon signs of exploitation? Riverside's underfunded system, juggling 5 juvenile calls yearly, prioritizes immediate threats over patterns, leaving families like Celeste's to chase shadows alone. Her ex-boyfriend's words sting. She'd joke about running away because home hurt. Those 11 visits weren't just records, they were lifelines frayed by indifference, allowing a predator's grip to tighten unchecked. As LA's Captain Scott Williams probes deeper, the question lingers, could one deeper dive have rewritten her ending? For now, the logs stand as indictments not of a family, but of a response too shallow to save a girl drowning in plain sight. In the immediate aftermath of the September 8, 2025, discovery of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains in his Tesla, David, real name David Anthony Burke, projected an image of transparency that quickly crumbled under legal scrutiny. Sources close to the singer confirmed to Rolling Stone on September 30 that he was fully cooperating with authorities, providing access to devices and timelines during the initial APD interviews. His spokesperson echoed this to NBC News on September 17, stating David had been informed about what's happened and was assisting despite his ongoing tour. Detectives, piecing together Celeste's final weeks, appreciated the early access, which yielded preliminary data on his Hollywood Hills rental and vehicle logs. It seemed a sign of innocence, or at least strategic openness, as David canceled shows but maintained a public facade of shock. That facade shattered by late September. On October 1, reports surfaced that David had retained Blair Burke, Hollywood's elite criminal defense attorney known for shielding A-listers like Justin Bieber, Britney Spears, and Kanye West from scandals. Burke, famed for turning PR nightmares into acquittals, signaled a pivot to damage control. Sources told LA Magazine the hire was preemptive, anticipating escalation if talk screens linked Celeste's death to foul play. Post-hire, David went radio silent, no statements, no social posts, his team stonewalling the media while LA Plus Robbery Homicide Division hit a wall on further interviews. Private investigator Steve Fisher called it, standard Celeb playbook, cooperate just enough, then lawyer up. As of October 3, 2025, Yahoo's update filed just 10 hours ago confirms the limbo, no arrests, no named suspects. LAP's Captain Scott Williams reiterated to Hindustan Times that without a cause of death, criminal culpability beyond concealment remains unclear, leaving David free but shadowed. This shift from LA to enigma fuels speculation. Was the initial cooperation genuine, or a calculated delay? For Celeste's family, it's salt in the wound, a star's silence amid their endless grief. A bombshell video has cracked open the timeline of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's final months, capturing a raw, explosive confrontation that humanizes the 14-year-old runaway while exposing the cracks in her fractured life. Obtained by investigators and dissected on the Surviving the Survivor podcast hosted by former Fox News correspondent Joel Waldman and his therapist mother Carmela, the Nest camera footage, dated September 8, 2024, shows Celeste erupting in a high-decibel tirade against a neighboring family outside her Lake Elsinore apartment. Just one day after her fort day and exactly 1 year before her dismembered remains were unearthed from David's Tesla, the clip unfolds like a pressure cooker. What begins as kids' water balloon pranks escalates into Celeste's piercing screams, laced with profanity and a possible racial slur hurled at the group. You think that's funny? Get the fez away. Her voice cracks, raw with adolescent fury, as she storms into frame, curls wild and fists clenched. The neighbors, caught off guard, fire back, one man retorting, "I'm not black, don't use that word," before the chaos peaks, drawing stares from the quiet street. The footage, first leaked to TMZ and analyzed in depth on Surviving the Survivor, adds a visceral layer of personal drama to the case. Podcast guests, including true crime experts, poured over the grainy 45-second clip, noting Celeste's unfiltered rage as a window into her turmoil, perhaps the toxic grip of David's jealousy, or the weight of her secret life away from home. This isn't just a kid acting out, it's a scream for someone to notice she's breaking, Waldman observed, tying it to her grooming. After the blow-up, a neighbor's boyfriend crossed the street to apologize at her door, met by her father, who seemed unfazed, waving it off with a casual, "It's fine, kids being kids." This nonchalance, the podcast argues, underscores the family's exhaustion amid her runaways, but also a missed chance to probe deeper. LAD has the video in evidence, using it to recalibrate her missing status, proving she returned home months after May 2024 reports, only to vanish fatally by August 25. For listeners tuning into Surviving the Survivor, the footage isn't just proof of life, it's a haunting portrait of a girl unraveling, her fiery spark dimmed forever in a celebrity's shadow. Josh Marshall, the 32-year-old music industry powerhouse behind David's rapid ascent, has long been the architect of young talent's breakthroughs. A New York native with roots in urban music management, Marshall launched Mogul Vision in 2019 as a joint venture with Sony Music's Arista Records, positioning himself as CEO to scout and nurture emerging artists. His roster reads like a Gen Z hit list: Lil Mosey, Who's Noticed, went platinum; Smoke Perp, the SoundCloud rap pioneer; Kenny Hoopla, now touring with Blink-182; and Ruby Rose, the Atlanta rapper signed amid buzz in 2023. By June 2023, Interscope Geffen AM entered profile partnership with Mogul Vision, praising Marshall's incredible track record at identifying unique artists early. Under his guidance, David, discovered as a 17-year-old bedroom producer, skyrocketed from TikTok virality to Interscope deals with Romantic Homicide, amassing billions of streams. Marshall's philosophy: empowering entrepreneurial JVs in urban music, blending A&R savvy with branding wizardry, turning raw demos into global phenomena. From his Manhattan office, he oversees a lean empire focused on hip-hop, indie, and R&B, with signings like Jidi Perez's 2023 EP How to Catch a Falling Knife marking Mogul's Interscope era. But in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez saga, Marshall's fingerprints appear on more than contracts. He personally leased the $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills mansion from early 2025, a sprawling modernist retreat with infinity pools and city views, just blocks from where the Singer's black Tesla was abandoned. The homeowner confirmed to investigators that Marshall handled the paperwork, breaking the lease abruptly on September 24, 2025, days after alleged raids seized electronics and fibers from the site. Speculation intensified with reports of Marshall's red Tesla Model Y spotted in the property's garage during July 2024, overlapping Celeste's last confirmed visit via Nest Cam. Online sleuths unearthed blurry security stills showing the crimson SUV parked beside David's black Model 3, its license plate tying back to Marshall's California fleet. He vehemently denied ties in a September 28 TikTok under Mogul. "I've never lived in that home, no access to cameras or anything on that property." Yet the red Tesla's presence fuels whispers. Was it a mere visit, or a thread linking the manager to the teen's final fatal days? As LAP probes deepen, Marshall's polished profile, once a launchpad for stars, now casts long shadows over David's crumbling empire. On September 28, 2025, Josh Marshall, David's manager and Mogul Vision CEO, broke his silence to counter a viral video accusing him of ignoring Celeste Rivas Hernandez's family. The clip, posted by a true crime enthusiast, alleged Marshall received emails from Celeste's mother about her missing status in April 2024, detailing her runaway patterns and ties to David, but dismissed them with, "Not my issue." The video, amassing millions of views, painted Marshall as complicit, claiming he managed the $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills rental where Celeste likely died. Marshall fired back in a comment, "This video is false and the person is misinformed. I had zero knowledge of anything." The 18-word denial, sharp and unapologetic, aimed to douse the fire but sparked more questions. He followed with a text-only post: "Never received those emails. No involvement in personal matters. Focus on the facts. No evidence, just deflection, leaving room for doubt about what he knew as David's gatekeeper." 2 days later, on September 30, Marshall sat for a 156-second TV interview, his first on-camera response. Filmed in a Manhattan studio, he wore a crisp button-down, hands folded, projecting calm. Addressing the email claims, he said, "Those are baseless. I manage David's career, not his personal life. This news is tragic. Celeste's family deserves answers, and I hope authorities resolve it soon." Then, a pause. "This is the only time I'll speak on this matter." Farnabo. That farnabo landed like a bombshell, its ambiguity hinting at withheld truths or legal caution. Analysts noted his measured tone, suggesting a lawyer's script to avoid liability. The phrase trended online, with fans and critics dissecting it as either a promise of future clarity or a dodge. The statement didn't quell the storm. Celeste's aunt, via crowdfunding update, snapped back, "Zero knowledge. We begged for help." LAP, probing Marshall's role, subpoenaed his emails, seeking the alleged family messages. His denial, paired with the Hills lease and a red Tesla spotted in its garage, keeps him in the crosshairs. Was Farnabo a slip, or a calculated stall? In a case of shadows and secrets, Marshall's words are less a defense than a spark for more questions. Josh Marshall's cryptic "FOR at the end of his September 30, 2025, statement about Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death has ignited a firestorm of speculation, splitting observers between those who see it as a veiled admission and those who view it as a calculated legal dodge. Uttered during a brief TV interview, the phrase capped his claim of "zero knowledge" about Celeste's ties to David, delivered with a slight pause and a glance off camera, as if coached. To some, Farnabo hints at withheld truths, perhaps knowledge of David's grooming or the Hollywood Hills rental's dark secrets, where Celeste's dismembered body was likely hidden before landing in the Tesla trunk. The ambiguity suggests Marshall might know more but is biding time, waiting for LAPD's talk screen or subpoenaed emails to force his hand. Could he be shielding David, whose career he built, or protecting Mogul Vision's brand? His role as the $20,000 a month leaseholder fuels suspicion. Was he closer to the crime scene than admitted? Others argue it's a pure legal strategy. Marshall, advised by high-powered attorneys, likely chose FORNW to avoid self-incrimination while signaling cooperation to deflect public heat. Celebrity defense tactics. Scenes like R. Kelly's often lean on vague statements to sidestep lawsuits or charges, especially with no arrests as of October 3, 2025. The phrase buys time, keeping Marshall untouchable until evidence, like blood traces or digital logs, surfaces. Yet, the public didn't buy it. Online communities, dissecting his body language, dubbed FOR Nagu, chilling, a viral moment that trended for its ominous undertone. Celeste's aunt, in a crowdfunding post, called it a slap in the face, amplifying demands for transparency. Whether a slip or a shield, FORNW has turned Marshall's denial into a question mark, keeping the case's shadows alive. Josh Marshall's staunch zero knowledge claim, made on September 28, 2025, has fueled heated debate about his role in Des' case. Is he shielding David or unwittingly entangled in the singer's dark secrets? As David's manager and Mogul Vision CEO, Marshall leased the $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills mansion where Celeste likely spent her final days in August 2025. His denial, "Never lived in that home. No car of mine in California," aims to distance himself from the crime scene, where LAPD found electronics and fibers during a September 18 raid. Yet, neighbors reported a red Tesla Model Y registered to Marshall in July 2024, overlapping with Celeste's Nest Cam appearance nearby. This contradiction casts doubt on his detachment, suggesting he was closer to David's world than admitted. The zero knowledge defense could be a loyal manager protecting his star, whose career Marshall built from SoundCloud to global tours. By claiming ignorance, he deflects liability, especially with no arrests as of October 3, 2025. But Celeste's family, via crowdfunding posts, accuses him of ignoring their pleas for help. If Marshall knew of David's grooming, his silence could signal complicity, making zero knowledge a legal shield masking deeper ties to a fatal cover-up. The LAPD raid on September 18, 2025, at David's $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills rental triggered an immediate exodus, underscoring the case's seismic fallout. Just days later, on September 24, the singer's real name David Anthony Burke and manager Josh Marshall terminated the lease early, packing up amid moving trucks spotted on the street. Homeowner Malden Trifanovic confirmed the abrupt end, noting Marshall's call. They could no longer reside there. Unclear how much time remained on the February 2024 agreement, the move severed David's LA anchor, fleeing the site where forensics hunted blood traces and fibers tied to Celeste Rivas Hernandez's August death. This hasty retreat, post-seizure of laptops and clothing, reeks of evasion trading glamour for anonymity as LAPD's probe intensifies. For a 20-year-old star, it's not just a house, it's a lifeline cut, amplifying isolation amid no arrest limit. The autopsy of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, conducted by the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner shortly after her remains were discovered on September 8, 2025, has painted a preliminary picture of horror without immediate answers. The 15-year-old's severely decomposed body, weighing just 71 pounds at discovery, showed no overt signs of trauma, no stab wounds, no gunshot injuries, no fractures from blunt force. This absence of visible violence leaves investigators grasping for clues in a case already shrouded in mystery. Crucially, the report confirms Celeste was not pregnant at the time of death, nor had she been in the preceding year, debunking online rumors that swirled amid speculation of a motive tied to David's alleged relationship. Her death certificate, obtained through public records, lists the cause as deferred, pending toxicology results that could take weeks or months to process. The manner of death remains undetermined, hovering between accident, suicide, natural causes, or homicide, a limbo that frustrates both LAPD's robbery homicide division and Celeste's grieving family. Yet, the examination revealed undeniable brutality. Celeste was dismembered, her limbs and torso sectioned with precision, suggesting tools like a saw or knife, then wrapped in black plastic sheeting and stuffed into a duffel bag inside the front trunk of David's Tesla. She was dressed in a tube-top black leggings, a yellow metal bracelet, and stud earrings, with that poignant "she" tattoo on her right index finger intact amid the decay. The decomposition, advanced putrefaction with bloating, skin slippage, and insect activity indicated she had been dead for weeks, not days, her official date of death pegged to discovery due to the state of the remains. The place of death is simply noted as vehicle, underscoring the concealment's role in delaying justice. As of October 3, 2025, the deferred status persists, with Hindustan Times reporting just 10 hours ago that the medical examiner is awaiting lab confirmation, echoing MME's October 1 update on the ongoing toxicology wait. Times on September 29 detailed how she perished weeks before the find, likely late August, she baking in the sealed trunk under Hollywood's relentless sun. For Celeste's loved ones, these clinical details clash with memories of a vibrant teen, her curls, her laugh now reduced to case 2025 4Q252. The lack of trauma buys no comfort, it only amplifies the questions, accident or artifice. The autopsy, far from conclusive, stands as a fragile scaffold for a probe teetering on forensic edges, where every deferred day deepens the family's ache. Amy Santoro, a seasoned forensic scientist and former crime scene investigator with over 15 years in the field, has emerged as a key voice dissecting the challenges in determining Celeste Rivas Hernandez's cause of death. In a detailed analysis shared during a recent true crime forum and echoed in investigative updates, Santoro, known for her work on high-profile cases involving decomposition, zeroed in on two primary suspects: drug overdose or manual strangulation. With no overt trauma like stabbings or gunshots, we're looking at subtle killers that advanced decay can obscure, she explained, emphasizing the autopsy's deferred status as a classic hurdle in such scenarios. Her insights, drawn from the body's condition, dismembered, plastic-wrapped, and exhibiting weeks of putrefaction, highlight how time erodes evidence, turning a potential homicide into a forensic puzzle. Santoro's first theory, overdose, aligns with patterns in teen cases she's investigated. Tox screens are our best shot here, she noted, detailing how samples from blood, vitreous humor, the eye's fluid, tissue, or even bone marrow can detect substances like fentanyl or opioids, common culprits in youth overdoses. But decomposition complicates everything. Bacteria in the gut produce gases and chemicals that mimic drug metabolites, while autolysis, self-digestion of cells, degrades samples. Celeste's remains, exposed to August heat in the Tesla's sealed frunk, likely reached skeletonization thresholds where soft tissues liquefy and toxins leach out. It's tricky, viable samples dwindle after tooth, and with dismemberment, organ integrity is shot, Santoro warned. If positive, it could point to accidental ingestion during a party or coerced use in David's circle, shifting blame from murder to negligence. Yet, the delay months for bone tox if fluids fail frustrates progress, as LAPD awaits results that might exonerate or ensnare. Her second suspicion, strangulation, draws from Santoro's domestic violence expertise, where it's the leading cause of female homicides in relationships. It's insidious, no external marks if manual, and decay wipes the slate, she said. Telltale signs like petechial hemorrhaging in the eyes, neck bruising, or hyoid bone fractures vanish in advanced decomp, as soft tissue strangled by hands or a cord degrade fastest. In DV contexts, 70% of cases Santoro reviewed involved intimate partners, fitting allegations of David's jealous control of his reposts about pouring boiling water on a girlfriend for talking to boys. Celeste's youth and the power imbalance scream grooming turned violent, with strangulation's intimacy matching a hidden argument in the Hills rental. But without preserved hyoid or mucosal evidence, it's circumstantial. Decomposition's silent eraser leaves only the dismemberment as proof of post-mortem malice. Santoro's balanced take underscores the case's fragility. Overdose buys reasonable doubt, strangulation screams intent, but science must speak. Her analysis, grounded in the autopsy's voids, reminds us that Celeste's story beyond stats is one of a girl whose final breaths may echo unheard, pending labs that could crown her a victim or statistic. The Celeste Rivas Hernandez investigation teeters on a razor's edge, with the deferred toxicology screen emerging as the single greatest roadblock to justice or its evasion. As of October 3, 2025, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office lists her cause of death as pending, a status that could stretch months, per expert warnings. Forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden, consulting on similar high decomp cases, weighs in starkly, no overt trauma like stabbing or gunshot means we're chasing ghosts tox must deliver, or the case risks collapsing into undetermined forever. The autopsy's clean slate, no fractures, no projectiles shifts burden to labs, but weeks of putrefaction in David's Tesla trunk have ravaged samples, blood coagulated into useless sludge, vitreous fluid evaporated, tissues analyzed beyond molecular yield. Bone marrow, a last resort, demands specialized extraction, delaying results and diluting drug signatures amid bacterial interference. This limbo handcuffs Libdal's robbery homicide division. Captain Scott Wims admitted to outlets that without a clear cause, criminal culpability beyond concealment remains unclear, trapping the probe in evidentiary purgatory. Dismemberment proves post-death tampering, but motive hinges on how she died. If accidental overdose, David faces mere misdemeanor for body dumping, not murder, per California Penal Code 152.3 on corpse abuse. Experts like Baden foresee a perfect storm. If tox yields inconclusive positives, say trace fentanyl degraded to noise, prosecutors balk at trial, fearing acquittal on reasonable doubt. The heat-sealed frunk accelerated decay, erasing petechiae or ligature marks, leaving only circumstantial threads like David's jealous posts. For Celeste's family, this roadblock is torment. A GoFundMe swells with donations, yet justice stalls. Undetermined isn't closure, it's erasure, allowing suspects like David to lawyer up unchecked. As Baden concludes, tox is the linchpin, fail here, and the case crumbles. Her the walks free in the fog of forensics. Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains, held for weeks amid the deferred autopsy, were finally released to her Lake Elsinore family on September 23, 2025 by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner 15 days after discovery in David's Tesla. The handover, confirmed via death certificate, allows burial rites with a memorial set for October 4. Her loved ones, shattered by the dismembered horror, now navigate raw grief. Vigils in Lake Elsinore draw hundreds, candles flickering for the sweet child, whose curls once lit neighborhood streets. A verified GoFundMe, launched by relative Esmeralda Lozano, has amassed over $24,000 in astounding donations, surpassing goals for funeral costs, therapy, and lost wages. Updates read like broken, "She was our light." Amid probes, this outpouring of global strangers to local kin honors Celeste, turning tragedy into a chorus of communal mourning. On October 3, 2025, LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division issued a terse update confirming welfare checks and runaway reports at Celeste Rivas Hernandez's Lake Elsinore home from February 2024 to April 2025, including 3 frantic visits crammed into March 19, 2024. The day footage captured her vanishing around a corner. Captain Scott Williams, speaking to ABC 7 hours earlier, reiterated the systemic gaps. Deputies responded, but without a clear threat. "We couldn't escalate to custody or deep dives into her online world." This revelation, echoing E! News Afternoon Bulletin, underscores how Riverside County's overburdened system treated Celeste's pleas as juvenile drama, not grooming red flags tied to David. Simultaneously, Josh Marshall doubled down on his denial, telling E! News in a 13-hour-old interview, "Zero knowledge, I've said it, and that's the truth," responding to fresh speculation about a Tesla keycard found near the Hills rental on September 29. Marshall blasted online videos as baseless, insisting he never lived there or accessed its cameras. His words, clipped and lawyer-vetted, aim to sever ties to the $20,000 a month lease he signed. Yet, the keycard, now under forensics, links back to his red Model Y, spotted in the garage during Celeste's last known visit. As LAPD subpoenas his emails for ignored family pleas, Marshall's stance feels like absolution and more like a fortress, leaving David's camp isolated amid mounting scrutiny. The Celeste Rivas Hernandez case hinges on toxicology results experts predict, potentially dictating whether David faces cuffs or walks free. After October 3, 2025, the deferred cause pending labs on degraded blood, vitreous, and bone samples could drag into November. Per forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden, if tox confirms overdose, say fentanyl traces mimicking bacterial decay, David dodges murder but not concealment charges under Penal Code 152.3, a misdemeanor at best, buying time for his Blair Burke defense to spin it as a tragic accident in a teen romance gone awry. Conversely, inconclusive results spell collapse. No trauma means undetermined, forever, eroding probable cause for arrest. Baden warns, decumps the thief here weeks in that frunk erased everything but dismemberment. LAPD's Williams echoed this limbo, noting no suspects named without a homicide tag. Prediction? 60-40 odds for charges if tox leans fall play like coarse drugs, but if clean, David's cooperation narrative holds, tour revival possible by 2026. The keycard and seized electronics might tip scales, but tox is the scalpel incise truth, or let shadows swallow justice. In the void left by lapis delays, the Justice for Celeste movement has surged as a beacon, transforming grief into grassroots momentum. Since September 8, 2025, online forums and vigils in Lake Elsinore have mobilized thousands, from viral timelines piercing David's jealous posts to petitions demanding Riverside audits for runaway protocols. Community sleuths unearthed the September 2024 Nest footage, rewriting Celeste's missing since April narrative and pressuring officials for transparency. The GoFundMe, launched by Aunt Esmeralda Lozano, has eclipsed $24,000, astounding for funeral rites, therapy, and family relocation, fueled by global donors sharing Celeste's story of resilience amid home strife. "She's not just a headline, she's our girl," one Lake Elsinore organizer told local news, crediting the fund for an October 4 memorial drawing 500 attendees. This collective roar petitions at 50,000 signatures, fan boycotts spiking David streams ironically holds power. It amplified the Levin visit scandal, forcing Williams' confirmation. Yet, risks lurk, swatting hoaxes and doxing. True hope lies in sustained advocacy. Community tips to LAP's hotline have yielded leads, proving voices can pierce bureaucracy. For Celeste, whose curls lit streets, this uprising isn't vengeance, it's validation, ensuring her light endures beyond the trunk's darkness. The Celeste Rivas Hernandez saga remains a labyrinth of shadows. What does Josh Marshall's FOR no double truly portend, a looming confession, or mere legal feint amid subpoenaed emails? And the cause of death is overdose, erasing intent, or strangulation's ghost lost to decay? These enigmas, from the red Tesla keycard to deferred talks, cloak David's role in ambiguity, his silence a canvas for speculation. Dismemberment screams cover up, yet without homicide proof. Justice teeters a 15-year-old's final plea tattooed, Shaw, on a finger that once waved goodbye. Don't let the fog win. Track justice for Celeste, share timelines, amplify family voices, demand Riverside reforms for runaways. Bolster the GoMe at GoFundMe. Com justice for Celeste, every dollar funds healing, every retweet pressures LAPD. Celeste wasn't a statistic, She was a dreamer with curls and fire. In Hollywood's glare, one girl's story can rewrite the script from tragedy to triumph if we act now. Her light demands it. Will you carry the torch?